Hello everyone, my name is Paul Third, and many people that watch this channel will remember that last year I made a video talking all about my decision to ditch Pro Tools after 10 years. Yes, I was using it for over 10 years, I knew it like the back of my hand. I even went to an Avid college and I was trained on it. However, there were many things that were kind of getting to me and I was getting annoyed and I felt it was slowing me down. And I was looking at other DAWs and the features that they offer, and yeah, I'll leave a link to it here in the description so you could kind of have more context of what I'm talking about. I love even just the fact that I'm looking at it now because it's right there, the way it's laid out, and the fact that I have the edit window, the mix window, and even like they have a plugin channel window as well. So I've got 3 separate things all in the one screen. And there's many reasons, but I thought kind of in this video I would run through like the 5 main features that for me are kind of deal breakers, the things that just made me go, yeah, that's it. I'm done. Bye-bye Pro Tools. Never again. And I get that, that I will get shit from, many Pro Tools guys in the comments.
I can't believe you would say this about the industry standard. You do know it's an industry standard, for a reason. Pro Tools, the door for professionals. Fucking YouTubers in the Studio One and Reaper.
Right, kind of the first feature for me that's really handy that I prefer on Studio One as opposed to Pro Tools is how you export tracks in stems. In Pro Tools, I always found it to be a little bit convoluted, and it was like you had to commit things. You know what I mean? So if you had all your plugins, you would have to like commit things and, then consolidate your clips and stuff. I felt very manual. We're seeing Studio One. It's genuinely as simple as export stems, and they've got it separated. So you've got your tracks, which are obviously your tracks. Then you've got your channel, which is your tracks and your buses. So you could export stems and you could export tracks as well. And it incorporates the plugin inserts as well, so you don't need to go bloody fucking committing everything. It exports it all into one folder, and it's just genuinely as simple as that.
Bullshit. Doesn't take me long at all. No.
Now, the next thing that I love about Studio One, and again, this is a very subjective thing, but I prefer the way that it does its hardware inserts. Basically, it's like a plugin, and it's called Pipeline XT. And what I like about Pipeline XT is that you can control the level of the send and the return. You'll have, especially with a lot of 500 gear stuff, if you've got EQs and stuff like that, you won't have an input and output control. So you can't control how much of the signal from your DAW is going into your analog gear, and then you controlling that on the way coming back into the DAW. Look, it's easy in Pro Tools, you can do the hardware insert thing, but I really don't like the time it takes to do the delay compensation for hardware inserts in Pro Tools.
The way you do that is again under Setup and I/O, and here under Hardware Insert Delay. So you can manually type in, I happen to know this is about a 1 millisecond delay for each of these inserts. So you can manually type that in. The easiest way to figure out the insert delay is to record a track, say a metronome where you have a sharp pulse, and then send that same metronome out through your audio interface and back in and record that to a second track, and then compare the two in time. The difference is what you type into the hardware insert delay.
I'm not fucking doing that. No, I'm not fucking doing that.
Where in Pipeline XT, it's got delay compensation built in, and it's one button, and it's genuinely as easy as that. You can actually see the waveforms lining up. I know it's just like me being pernickety, but yeah, even like hardware inserts, I genuinely do think Studio One does it better, more efficient, easier to use. Yeah, and I just think they just do it right.
You do know, you little disgusting YouTuber, that people have been using Pro Tools with analog gear since the invention of audio. Do you know that? Ever since the invention of digital, you know what I mean? Analog has been getting used with Pro Tools. I use the hardware inserts, right? And I'll tell you one thing right now, right? It's a learning experience. Doing the delay compensation, right, for your analog gear, I'll tell you right now, right? You don't know when you were born. You don't know when you were fucking born.
I don't give a shit. Now, the third kind of feature on Studio One that I love, which is like kind of a big deal breaker for me, is the macros that you could do on Studio One. I'm pretty sure, from what I remember, you can do it on Pro Tools, but I think you have to use external software or buy external software. I think it's called SimFlow that Matty Harris was telling me about. Where in Studio One, it's all done for you. Like, that's what I love about this like plugin menu thing that they came up with, or sorry, a channel menu. And it's got everything there. You just go like that, macro. And you can macro, you know, any plugin feature that you want. Just have it to a dial and job done. And then it's got the splitter tool underneath. And I love the splitter tool because I love being able to kind of just make anything like multiband and just be able at the one click of a button, just be like, right, okay, I'm going to do a crossover here. Especially again, if you're like processing bass and you like to split your bass. So for example, imagine you've got like a bass like DI and there's no bass amp and you can't be arsed like in duplicating it and then doing a high pass filter and blah, 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 right? All you need to do is just like click on the splitter tool, set your crossover. By the way, sorry, that knocking, it's freezing in here. Honestly, this studio is freezing. It's Scottish winter and I've got this heater and it's probably costing me a fucking arm and a leg and it's old as shit and it makes random pop-in noises. So yeah, you don't give a shit. And also, another big thing about the macro feature, if you're lucky enough to have the faderport 16, which presonus finally agreed to send me it, but what's great about the macro feature of Studio One is that if you use the faderport 16, there's a macro button. Now I've got this, I've kind of macroed the main things that I do in plugins. So for example, I could have say like 3 or 4 plugins on snare. Like the main things that I do on snare, I've got them set to a macro. So if it's the 10k shelf in the Neve, I've got it on a fader. If it's the threshold of the clipper, I've got it set to a fader. And I've done that on lots of kind of features of plugins that I kind of do in every single mix. And I just prefer it because it means I'm not looking at the screen. It's easier from a workflow perspective. I can just go, right, select the snare channel, macro, and all the faders come up and job done. And yes, I love the faderport 16. As even honestly, see, just being able to do more with your hands.
Dirty bugger, you dirty bugger.
Now, the fourth feature that I love on Studio One is the listen bus. And I love this feature because what it allows me to do is it allows me to have all of my monitoring plugins separate from my mix bus. And it means when, you know, I export the mix, it has no impact on the export. You know, so I've got my Harmony EQ for my headphones, I've got real phones for the Allos, I've got different reference plugins, I've got tonal balance from Isotope, I've got the Sonable, True Balance, Good Hertz Can Opener. Yeah, it's just great to be able to have like all of your monitoring stuff on one bus and you can go on it and just kind of flick through what you need to do and you never need to worry about it affecting the export because we've all been there and I did it so many times on Pro Tools. When I would export it, when I was using SonarWorks, and I would fucking leave SonarWorks on it and be on the mix. And then I'd be like, oh my God, why did I fucking do that? Where the listen bus? You don't have it. And every DAW should have a listen bus. And yeah, it's a great feature. And last but not least, this is a brand new feature. It's generally just came out I think maybe last month. Is the fact that it's now Dolby Atmos enabled. I was really worried when Studio One didn't do Dolby Atmos because it was going to mean that I was going to have to move to another DAW specifically just for Dolby Atmos. I was thinking about Cubase, or I was like, oh fuck, am I going to have to get a Mac and kind of go through like Logic and stuff, or am I going to have to use these kind of other third-party software plugins that you can get to use Dolby Atmos. But give Studio One their due, they have, thankfully, finally, just in time for me. Not that they made it just for Paul Third's fucking Atmos room being finished, but they now have it, and they've got lots of features that I like, and you know, it's actually really easy to set up a session. They've even got a template session for you to use with audio files, and they've got their own plugins and stuff. And I can tell that the reason why it took them so long to integrate Dolby Atmos is because they wanted to do it right, and I genuinely do think they've done it really well. There's even like a binaural feature as well that's really easy to use. And yeah, I genuinely think I've watched quite a few videos, and I think from a workflow perspective, it may be the best DAW for Dolby Atmos. But either way, right, I'll keep you posted, right, when I'm actually able to to test it with my 7.1.4 setup. Why am I saying that? He's all fucking hate Dolby Atmos and you just don't give a shit. So yeah, I probably won't tell you. You can fucking get up yours. I'll just sit in my little audio cave.
Having things fucking swimming around me like I'm in a fucking rave.
But either way, fuck we're talking about. Either way, that's like, you know, the reasons why I like Studio One and the reason why I'm decided, you know, to stay with Studio One and the reasons why I'll never go back to Pro Tools. Yes, I know it will enrage. Enrage all of you Pro Tools fans out there. You call them reasons to move from Pro Tools. This is the reason why you don't listen to fucking YouTubers. It's fucking YouTube doors. Reaper, YouTube door. Studio One, YouTube door. Logic, fucking Logic. No Logic in it whatsoever. Pro Tools, industry standard for a reason. Used by professionals for professionals. Oh, right, okay. I'm just going to unsubscribe right now because, you know, what is the point? You know, I fucking don't like Pro Tools. I fucking hate Pro Tools. But it's the industry standard. And I fucking hate Pro Tools. But I fucking love Pro Tools at the same time. At one time, everything was going great when we were young and we'd go on fucking parties together and get on it. But now, you know, it's just fucking slow. We can barely fucking look at each other. Honestly, these aren't scripted. I don't know. Shit just comes in my head. Right, fuck it. Right, what time is it? It's 10 past 11. I'm losing my mind. Right, whatever. There you go. I'll see you again next week. Bye-bye.